The two-factor theory, developed by psychologist Frederick Herzberg, is a theory that consists of exploring the impact of motivational influences on employee behavior and job satisfaction. Therefore, Herzberg conducted an interview on hundreds of people, which he explored how external factors, or which main factors, impacts employee behavior. He found out that there's two main factors: hygiene factors and motivator factors. These hygiene factors are sources of job satisfaction, such as salary, status, security, and that to get to employee satisfaction, you have to eliminate the poor hygiene factors. So to do that, for example, if an employee is not being paid well enough, then what an employer can do is to in comparison to other industries, they can introducing fair and a competitive wage. This is some examples of hygiene standards. Also, they can get other benefits towards employees. They can have good interpersonal relationships with their employees, quality supervision, job security, good working conditions, work-life balance. These are all motivators. However, they improve the dissatisfaction of employees. However, they won't increase job satisfaction. He found out that, psychologist Herzberg, he found out that there's more to job satisfaction. The hygiene factors, although they would only contribute to dissatisfaction. They're the factor that needs to be included to completely get to job satisfaction would be motivator factors. So the motivator factors are those such as achievement, recognition, responsibility, a sense of personal achievement, a status, a recognition, challenging and stimulating work, opportunity of advancement. These are all motivators for employees to work harder, and also to be able to be motivated to go to work and increase job satisfaction. Another examples are promotion, growth. These will result in high motivation, high satisfaction, and strong commitment. So based on my understanding of Herzberg's two-factor theory of job satisfaction, the type of incentives or employee programs are most likely to reduce job dissatisfaction would be those type of incentives based on the hygiene factors. So such factors as salaries, wages, benefits, company policy, and a better policy and administration, a good relationship between employees, co-workers, bosses, quality supervision, job security, good working conditions, and a work-life balance. They all contribute to this reduction of dissatisfaction. However, I do believe I do agree with psychologist and his theory, since these are all motivators that will contribute to general satisfaction and prevention of dissatisfaction. However, other factors such as the motivator factors, they all help into this job complete satisfaction, because without any achievements or for example stimulations from your bosses or from coworkers, then work gets really stable. There's nothing that would motivate, and it will become probably boring, because although you're getting a good salary and everything, you don't have other external motivators. So the type of incentives and employee programs that would most likely lead to employee satisfaction would be those associated with Herzberg's theory of motivators, because effective motivators leads to a stimulated and motivated workforce. With absence of these motivators, employees can most likely become ambivalent or even apathetic towards their roles. So they won't do anything with motivation. They would get an external motivation, which is like the money and all the programs that I've mentioned before. However, working at a place where everything is dual, everything is a routine, there won't be much as an external motivation. So when they do receive this type of motivation, like a sense of personal achievement, a status, a recognition, a challenging or stimulating work, more responsibility, opportunity for advancement, promotion, growth, all of these are motivators for employees to feel that their work is valuable in the company, and they will feel much more appreciated, which would lead to much more job satisfaction. An example for Herzberg's two-factor theory would be a company that hires an employee and offers safe work conditions and a stable and guaranteed pay. However, this is the basic needs and the basic a company could offer to an employee. So although this will not contribute to satisfaction, this would only maintain the employee avoid from feeling dissatisfied. However, to achieve this satisfaction, there could be factors such as congratulating them for a project, or leading them to be in charge of a project, and then once they're done, to be able to recognize their work for this project. This would actually lead to job satisfaction. Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory is depicted as a pyramid, where at the bottom we can have all the psychological needs, and at the top we have all the self-actualization needs. This theory is based upon that we need to complete first a level in order to, and satisfy a level in order to go up to the next. So for example, on the bottom, as I said before, we have the psychological needs. In order to fulfill this, we need water, food, and drinks to survive. So we need to first satisfy those needs in order to continue with going up with other needs, such as getting a job, looking out for our families, etc. So this theory is based on the belief that successfully accomplishing the lower level needs lead to achievement of higher levels. So this would, the higher levels are those as gaining confidence, self-esteem, and which are included in the self-actualization. So the levels are psychological, the second is safety, third is love and belonging, fourth is esteem, and fifth is self-actualization. On the other hand, the ERG theory is similar to the Maslow's theory, as it also suggests that people are motivated by categories, and it's also arranged in a hierarchy form. But it's different because instead of 5 categories, he only suggests there's 3. So the 3 include existence needs, relatedness needs, and growth needs. The existence needs are similar to Maslow's psychological and safety needs. The relatedness needs are related to Maslow's love, belonging needs, and growth needs. And the growth needs are they are also similar to Maslow's self-esteem needs and self-actualization needs. So he believes that instead of satisfying one at the time and fulfilling one and going to the next, he says that we can do some of them at the same time, and there's not really any order in which we can fulfill them. It depends on the circumstances. So he has received much more support from researchers, as they agree with his theory of we can fulfill many of these at the same time. However, there needs to be more research done. And finally, the McClelland acquired needs theory is based on that our needs are shaped by over time and by our cultural backgrounds or our experiences. She says she classified them into 3 categories, which are achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. So she says there's one more dominant than the others, but all 3 are really important to become and achieve and feel satisfied. So the need for achievement, which is the first one, is the desire to excel. So people who are achievement oriented, they generally have they're positive in nature, they tend to set their own goals, they thrive on feedback, they take ownership on their work, so they try to stay on high motivating and challenging environments, because they on routine works they might lose motivation. So an example of this is Ashley Rose, as is a good example, as she had a desire to excel. When the pandemic happened, she put a stop on all in-person events, obviously, because everything got closed. And she was one that motivated the majority of online business. So she would be a key to achievement. The next one is need for affiliation, which is the desire to belong to a group and to be liked. So these people generally do not like to control, they do not like to take unpopular decisions because they might fear that others might fall out of favor with them or might not stop liking them. And since they're group oriented and they like to be liked, so then this is their main focus and their main satisfaction. So they tend to not make good managers, since I said they don't like to take unpopular decisions. And without daily contact with others, they might feel they might lose motivation, which may lead to job dissatisfaction. And finally, the third one is the need for power. Need for power is the desire to control and influence the behaviors of others. There's two types of power. So there's the institutional power and the personal power. So institutional power is the power of individuals exert on for the good of the organization and its employees. But personal power is controlling, manipulating all of this for personal gain. So, for example, Vladimir Putin, the North Korea president, these are all examples of dictators who use the power in their favor and not on the company or the country's gain. So out of the three theories, the one that I think that provides the most useful and realistic explanation for human development and motivation would be McClelland's acquired needs theory, because this theory focuses on each personality and each person's their way of viewing life, as to say, because as she said, there's different needs. For example, the need for power, the need for achievement, need for affiliation. For example, there's some people that really do not like to take unpopular decisions. They really just like to go with the people and not control anyone. But there's also people that love control and they like to have power. So it depends on each person's motivators, which will make them feel satisfied and actually motivate them. And it's a much more realistic explanation for the human development and why we act as we do. The other ones, although it is important, the hierarchy organizational form, to know that we have to fulfill something in order to and satisfy our basic needs in order to satisfy other needs, such as from eating and drinking to all the way to self-esteem. We all need this in our daily lives, and it's obviously really important and it's part of our development. However, I wouldn't say this is a motivation, because these are simply daily things that we as humans need. So I wouldn't say it's a motivation, but more of like a need. We need to eat, we need to survive. So our motivation is based more on our personalities. So as I said, the need for power, the need for achievement, they're all based on our personalities, which is why I believe McClelland's acquired needs theory is much more oriented to our motivators and to our personal growth. Next, if I'm a manager in an auto sales dealership and all my sales employees are meeting their goals they set for themselves in the weekly car sales, this could be a good thing. However, the problem with this might be that there might be a lack of motivation to go into aiming for higher objectives. So for example, an employee can just be okay and be certain with just meeting expectations, and they might not aim for higher, which this could be the first problem. The second one is that since they're just meeting expectations or their own personal goals, their goals might not align with the goals of the company, so they might be even selling less, or they're not actually capitalizing as much as the company would need. Also, their motivations might be really limited in their mindset. So as I said, they might not be aiming for the company's good, but instead of meeting their own goals, they can also turn really competitive amongst each other. So therefore, a really competitive environment can surge from this, and therefore employees can start to become not motivated to go to work. They can also be really hard on themselves, and if they don't accomplish the objective that they set to themselves that week, then that would also lose motivation for them, and they would also fear to get an even higher motivation due to this like fear that they might feel since if they don't achieve it. So based on this, the market demand might not be fully exploited since there might be a high customer demand, but since salespersons are only involved in their own objectives, they might even lose a really good deal with a customer. They might lose customers because it's not compatible with their own personal goals. This might also make the company lose a lot of revenue opportunities. The competitors might benefit from this, as the competitors are going to take the customers that we lost because of their own greed, that they're not fulfilling their own objectives. So these are also problematics that might occur from this. An example of this could be, for instance, an employee is really focused on selling 2 BMWs per week, but a customer comes in and you also have Mercedes in your own dealership. And a customer asks for the Mercedes, but since the employee is not focused on selling the Mercedes but only the BMWs, then he won't put as much effort and as much consistency into selling that Mercedes, and they won't make the sales since the employee would only try to sell the BMW and not focus on what the customer wants, but reality on what they want. So this could be an example of this problem. Perceptions of procedural and distributive justice are greatly a matter of perception since they are largely subjective. They depend on how employees interpret fairness and the outcomes based on this. So for example, for procedural justice, this is a degree to which people perceive the implementation of a company's policies and their procedures to be fair. So for example, if someone is getting promoted and they get an award without a clear criteria or a clear standard of why they got the award, people might perceive it as unfair, and or if there's a bias or something. So for procedural justice, employees may view procedures as unjust even if they are not. For distributive justice, it's the degree to which people perceive outcomes as to be fairly allocated. So they focus on the outcomes and or the results, such as a pay, a promotion, or the workload. So this can be very based on each individual's perceptions and expectations, and of comparing with others. So if a colleague gets a reward, if they prioritize equity versus equality, all of this are examples of distributive justice. So what managers could do to reduce inaccurate perception of workplace inequalities is, first of all, communication. So as said before, an employee might feel that reward was unfair because there wasn't clear criteria. So what a manager could do is communicate about what the criteria is to give an award, to give a salary, anything given to another person, or any recognition should be really good communicated to avoid an unfair perception from others. Also encourage participation, so they don't feel one person is favored other than the other, to encourage everyone to participate, either if it's a project or if there's a reward attached to the project. There should be not only the communication, but also the encourage to participate, and also always provide feedback to everyone without having favoritism one over another. So to promote justice, to not just equality, because if you give everyone the same treatment, although this is what should be expected, you should also know and make it clear that if a person gets a reward, it's because they gain it, not because they should get it just because, and just because I want to be equal. It should be because they really made the effort to do it. Also, if the perception is already made, to always make clarifications upon the issue. So if you found out that someone is complaining about something unfair, to always, this is really attached to what I said at the beginning, to have communication, but the communication should come beforehand. But if there's a perception that's already made, to make sure to clarify and to address this misinterpretation, and to make sure there's no one's talking about this, and they really understand what's going on, to avoid these issues within the company.